welcome back for another book review. I had to return the book because I had a bunch to pick up, and so I don't have it, but I'm gonna insert a picture here. This is the book we are talking about. It is Enchantments, A Modern Witch's Guide to Self-Possession by Maya Spalter, maybe that's the name. So this book is definitely for a very specific kind of a person, and I just want to point out that it is quite ironic that I currently feel the polar opposite of this book. Because as somebody who definitely needs another cup of coffee and is for the most part not energetic, like I'm on the spectrum of very stereotypical, like crazy ADHD going off the walls, crazy energy levels, you know? And then you have a sloth in human form who desperately needs caffeine. I'm really closer to here. And so this book is closer to the other side. It is, if you are like, you love that person that like, to me, I love to be around them for like maybe 30 minutes and then you have exhausted me because like, how do you have that much energy? Can you bottle that and give it to me? Because I am tired all the time and you seem to be the Energizer Bunny. That is the vibe of this book. Like, she is that jittery, excited, run with the kind of thing, and it's written exactly how you think they would explain stuff. You know, like that type of a person who's like, and it's, I can't even mimic it. Like, I'm not that person, dude. But you know what I'm talking about, right? So with that in mind, this is that kind of a book. That type of energy you need to keep in mind for this book. And she is, if you imagined, like, and she wrote it specifically for this, so I kind of get it, but also, like, why couldn't you just hand them so many other books? But okay. You go in to your local witch shop, and you meet one of the many people who work there. And you're like, hey, what's this witch thing? And then you want that jittery, high energy, like rapid fire speaking, super high energy, bubbly, ecstatic, just like so much energy coming at you vibe. That is this book. Like, it's the basics 101, but from, again, a very like kind of really the exact opposite of me, where like, to give you context, this is me having energy, right? Like, if you ever meet me in the real world, I am less than this. I am like a sloth. Like, I just don't move. I'm so tired all the time. I don't got it in me to have that kind of energy. And so, like, no. So, like, this author is in so many ways I'm a polar opposite, because like I can't even make like a character of them. I can't even justify the amount of like rah, because I don't have that in me, dude. I do need a cup of coffee though, but like, this is like if I drank like an entire pot of espresso, maybe I could mimic it levels. So I gave it a 3. It's a good 3, but it's still a 3. So one of my biggest qualms with this, first of all, you really need to make your 101 books stand out. There's a lot of them now. Like, if you write on niche topics, you might not sell as much, but also your voice is going to be louder because there's not as much competition. If you're writing a Witchcraft 101 book, you are literally shouting into a crowd of shouting. Everyone, every single person has a 101 book. I have a 101 book. I have another one. My mega ultimate complete guidebook thing that's coming out soon. No, we have a lot of that, right? So if you're going to write a book on that, you're gonna need to make it stand out, because we've had these books since kind of the beginning. Think of Scott Cunningham, Raymond Buckland. I think even like Gardner and like, isn't it Dion Fortune also had some? Like there's all, or is it Doreen Valiente? I always get those two mixed up. That's terrible. I shouldn't, but I do. But like the old school names, we're kind of having 101 books, right? And so how are you going to make your stand out, especially in the modern world? We have a lot. You want to know how I know? I've read them. I've read so many. And so it's like, girl, you gotta stand out. Like, why am I going to recommend this over A Wicca, A Guide for the Solitary Practitioner, despite the fact it's so old? Or even like Witchcraft Today, which is not today anymore. It is yesteryear, from also Scott Cunningham, because I think it was published in like the 80s at least. And it talks about having cassettes. And I'm pretty confident if you go up to Gen Alpha and be like, yo, what's a cassette? They'll look at you like you're insane. And so it's getting dated, right? But even then, it's still a better written book than this. Like, you really gotta make yourself stand out. Because again, if the older books are still going to do a better job, why would we buy yours? Just because it's new? Like, why? And honestly, I think the main reason is because it matches, I guess, the shop she works at. So they can literally like just hand a book that's related to their shop, kind of. But then it comes into the next point. She doesn't actually know things. And that bothers me as a fellow witchcraft author. Why are you writing about stuff if you don't know and you don't know how to research? Because like behind the scenes, I'm researching 2 different books. I am working on my budget witch book. Yes, I am reviving it. And I'm working on my tarot book. Do I know a lot about tarot? I've read the cards for years. I just never bothered to memorize them all. And honestly, none of the books have had the answers that I need. So I'm finding them and then I'm publishing them. Because like I have a detailed list of what every card needs, because it bothers me that they're not even. And it's like, why does the major get more than the minor? Bothers me to no avail. They're never treated the same and I'm over it. So I have plans. And you know what? Because I don't know a lot about tarot, I'm reading like every single book that the entire library system has on tarot before I publish that book, to make sure I do as much research as I can. And my mother-in-law had a tarot book collection, so I'm gonna read those too to get as much information and as much research. And if you remember recently, we also talked about I think it was Everyday Voodoo is what it was called, where the author was not part of the community but did the research to write the book. And I'm like, why didn't you do that? Because there was so many times in this book that the author would just be like, yeah, I don't know about that. And it's like, then why are you talking about it? Why did you include it? You decided to bring this up. Why? And just the sheer amount of stuff that she's like, I just don't know about that. And I'm like, then why are you talking about it? Because like there's some things that like I just don't really include. Like in, I think it was Turning the Wheel, I had or maybe it wasn't, was it one? I think it was, because I think it was talking about the witch's Thanksgiving. But like I didn't go into the magical meaning of meat because I'm not going to research that, because I don't want you to do that. You should eat plants because they're not sentient. I'm still mad about that book. If you don't know, when we talked about recently by, what was her name? I remember the book title was like Roots, Branches, and I don't know, Twigs or something. I know that's not the exact title, but she said that broccoli is as sentient as a chicken, and I'm still not over it. But anyways, like, I feel like if you're gonna write a book and you don't know the things, you could research it. There are, again, so many books available. You don't even need to buy them. I'm doing a lot of my research through the library because it's free. We love the library. We need to keep them in business. So use your local library. And then also just like the internet exists. You can also do that. I do that a lot too, because sometimes I know I'm not going to find it in a book. I'm trying to find right now for Budget Witch, I'm trying to find the magical meanings between different kinds of beans. That's not a thing. Like there is like nothing at all about like the difference between a black bean, a kidney bean, a soybean, a pinto bean, trying to find the difference between like green lentils or red lentils. Dude, trying to find stuff like that? No. So like the internet's your best friend, and yet she didn't do that. She'd just be like, no. So that was not my favorite. Also, this is very specific to me in the last month. If you're an ace witch, it's got a lot. It's a lot that you're just like, oh my god, like the sex section was just really too much. And it's, oh my god. It's one of, again, that very high energy person, and sex is one of their hyper focuses. And you're just like, oh my god, I don't care. And again, you got the classic, well, of course, the maple, oh my god. So yeah, that got old real fast, and just, oh, it was rough. And again, the tone, I'm not that kind of a person. Like, I love sitting down with Pensac. He's pretty chill. Even, like, most authors are usually chill. You open most of the Pagan Portal books, they're gonna be pretty boring, you know? Like, it's just a different writing style, and I kind of like the more casual, chill. This is not it, and the tone was just, it was getting old. And like, at first I thought I would be okay with it, because in the very early part of the book, which I feel like the self-possession was never actually addressed. That's another thing. But self-possession, both because of its accepted meaning, example, bringing all of one's strengths to bear, being unswayed by others' opinions, etc., and because of the possession art part. Wow, I promise I can read, but I've also been working my audiobook, so words, don't worry. It takes me forever because I can't read out loud. As in being entirely enthralled to a spirit. But in this case, it's a DIY operation. You can enthrall yourself to your own spirit. Hunt your own damn house. And I was like, I kind of dig that. Do tell me how to haunt my own house. I am intrigued. And then she never promised on that. It never went anywhere. It's just another one book that you're just like, okay, so literally nothing was added to the conversation except a lot of 18+ content in the sexual category. And so I just didn't exactly love this. I would recommend this if you are that very high energy person. You love that type of like bubbly, like just the exact opposite of me, where they're like real high energy. You get drained being around them if, like me, you are not that. And, you know, like, there are people who are like that. I have known those people, I have worked with those people, and I'm like, girl, how? Like, they even can have kids, and they're still as bouncy as ever, and you're like, but like, how do you have that energy? Again, I just like siphon a tiny bit, because like, how? And then there's some people, they're just like non-stop going, and you're like, but literally how? I need so much caffeine to function comparatively. So if you love that like real high energy and very like chattery and very just that person, hopefully you know what type of person I'm talking about, and you're a new witch who's over 18, you might like this. Do keep in mind that she doesn't do a lot of research on stuff, so you're probably gonna need to continue researching anyways, because like on page 73 she has worked at this witchcraft shop for like over a decade and doesn't warn you about sunlight and washing your crystals, so a little alarming. So just plan to continue researching beyond this book with books that include warnings. That is it for this book review. I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. A huge thank you to my patrons. If you would like to support me and get access to exclusive content, I usually post 4 or 5 times a week. Every tier at least gets 1 post, including my free tier, so don't feel like I'm always like pushing Patreon to like get money. It is nice, but also I do have free content. You can get my audiobooks for free, so that Witchcraft is accessible. You don't have to pay money to get access to my books. I think it's important, so if you want to head over there, check it out. Also, my books will be coming to Barnes & Noble hopefully soon. I'm working on figuring out how to do that, so they will be available through Barnes & Noble, and my next one I'm hoping to publish in August. It's a lot of words to read out loud, and this camera, the laws still apply. I still can only record for about 15 minutes at a time before I gotta let it underheat for like 15 minutes, so can't get very far. And it's like 80 something chapters, so it's a lot. It's taking a while. I'm still in the 20s to do, and it's a lot. So anyways, because it's like almost 110,000 words. It's a big book. Anyways, till next time, thank you so much for coming along, and blessed be you.